another episode of the old, the new, and the awesome, where we shoot the shit, not the messenger. I am Cami from Cami's Corner, and I am here today with Ms. Gina from Randomly a Bookish Gina and Miss Stacy from Stacy's Stories. Together, we make up 3/4 of our square here on this awesome segment we do every month. Steve is anxiously awaiting his new bundle, so we have given him the month off to prepare to becoming a father. But we're really excited to talk and decided we were not going to let this month skip us by, so we have kind of rearranged the show just a little bit. Ladies, nice to see you again. How are both of you doing?
Good.
Excellent.
Good to hear. So we do have quite a bit to talk about this month, despite not really having a normal month myself in terms of entertainment. But let's get started. What are we watching? What are we talking about? Gina, of course, you're always good with the movies. So tell us what you've been watching.
I'm surprised I watched as many things as I did this month because I went to California at the beginning of the month, so that took up a week. But
yeah, how was the trip? Let's start with that.
It was fantastic. I went out to see some friends and to see Achievement Hunter live, which, if you don't know Achievement Hunter, they're part of Rooster Teeth. They play video games and do a bunch of shenanigans. So it was kind of a comedy show, and then where they play video games. We went to both the San Francisco show and the LA show, so I got a lot of California travel in. First time on a plane. That was weird.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Dang.
Okay, so now we were in the transition of masks, no mask. Did you have to wear a mask on the plane coming and going?
On the plane, yes. I'm not sure if California still had the mask mandates up, but we all still wore them anyway.
Okay. Yeah, I was just kind of getting a feel for that, because I know there was a little bit of pushback in the beginning, and then some airlines celebrated it and made videos across the wave. So
it was still definitely fully masked, and then all the flight attendants kept going 12 days. So it was right towards the end.
Well, I'm glad you got all those first experiences, and I'm glad everything went well. How was the weather? I love California weather.
Perfect. It rained the week before I got there, and then the day after I left, it was 99. So I got lucky.
Wow.
Yeah. It
Dang.
was 70s the whole time, and then all of them were in jackets and like freezing, and I was in shorts and a t-shirt, and they're like, "Aren't you cold?" I'm like, "Guys, it gets to like negative degrees where I'm at. No."
Isn't San Francisco pretty cold in general?
It was cold at night, and then like in the sun, like in the shade, but otherwise I was fine. The rest of them were freezing, but it was like 60s, which is perfect t-shirt shorts weather here.
No way.
Look, my bitter face. Sorry, I just took a drink of this. It's supposed to be a strawberry beer, but I'm like, where's the strawberry?
Oof.
So sorry.
Oh my God.
Don't you hate when that happens? When you get something based on a picture and you're like, this is gonna be great, and then it's not. I'm sorry, Stacy, what are you drinking or eating?
Oh. Drinking and eating pineapple moonshine.
Ooh.
It's actual pineapple soaked in moonshine. And pina colada moonshine.
Nice.
That's pretty dang good.
Now,
so I'm just eating the pineapple
box. So I thought this was going to be good because I love Shiner, but this is not good. But I'll drink it anyways because I'm not a waster.
Fair.
All right. So Gina, let's talk about movies. You said you watched more than you were expecting.
Yeah.
What did you start off your month with?
I started off with The Lost City. Me and my mom went. It was her first movie back since COVID. I've been going since last March, but it was her first movie back, so that was exciting. It was funny. It's the Sandra Bullock, Channing Tatum movie where she's that writer and then like she gets kidnapped. It was kind of dumb, but in a good way.
Were they a couple?
No. So she was the writer and then he was the cover model for her books. And so she like begrudgingly goes on tour for the latest book in the series, and she like totally hates it. And I think her husband died or she got divorced or something, and so that's why she's like super bitter. I don't remember exactly, but she didn't want to go on this book tour, and then from the book tour her and Channing Tatum got like in a fight because he's all like, yes, this is wonderful because I'm the sexy cover model and this is great, and then she's just like, you're just the cover model, you're not the actual guy. And so to prove to her that he wasn't a total loser, he goes and tries to save her. like after she gets kidnapped, because he feels like it's his fault that she got kidnapped. And so she gets kidnapped by Daniel Radcliffe, who's the villain of the movie, who like needs
What?
her. Yeah, so like her husband used to be an archaeologist, and they like tried like, so her books focus on the archaeology aspect as well, which is what her and her husband did, but then she turned them into romance novels. And then Daniel Radcliffe was like, you've discovered this thing I've been looking for, and like kidnaps her to try to make her find this lost treasure.
That sounds
Nice.
fun.
I saw him
It's-
do an
it's really
interview.
interesting.
He said he really enjoyed. Yeah,
It was
Daniel
fun.
said he really enjoyed working with them, and that he thought it was funny because Sandra Bullock asked him on set for his autograph. So everybody was like, oh, they thought it was something special. And he's like, no, please don't make a big deal out about it, because she asked for like her niece or something like that. He's like,
Aw.
so it's not like Sandra Bullock asked me for my autograph. He goes, but it was super cool nonetheless. So I love that.
That's
He's adorable.
fantastic.
He's just so humble, and just he's such a delight really to hear him in interviews. You know, he's just he reflects so much negativity and just has that really charismatic way of turning it around and making it fun. So I really
What is
enjoyed
it
hearing
like
him
to
talk
look
about
at?
that movie.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. So that was fun. And then there was Sonic 2, which it's Sonic.
Wasn't Steve looking forward to that one?
I think so.
I think he was really excited for that.
I really liked it. I don't know if I liked it more than the first one or not. According to Letterboxd, I gave them both the same rating. So I haven't rewatched the first one, but it was fun. It's a Sonic movie. Still glad that they
I
fixed the
haven't seen it.
CGI.
Steve made me watch the first one unbegrudgingly because I wasn't going to watch it. I told him, you know, I love Sonic the Hedgehog. Don't get me wrong. I played the video games growing up. I'm a huge Sonic fan, but the whole CGI thing just didn't appeal to me. And then I watched it and it was fun. You know, I didn't rate it particularly high,
Yeah.
but you know, just to kind of enjoy the kid experience, I could see it from, you know, the fun perspective. I haven't watched the second one because I didn't even know it was out. So thank you
Yeah,
for
it's
letting me
out.
know that. I'll definitely put that on my radar.
I like that the voice actor for Tails is the same voice actor that does Tails like everywhere. So like they were able to get the
Oh.
original Tails voice actor for it. So that was cool. And then Idris
is
Elba voiced Knuckles, which that was fun.
Jim
Those are
Carrey
two
is
really
like
fun
that guy, right?
Yeah, Jim Carrey's back as the bad guy, Dr.
Mhm.
Robotnik. He plays a
I-
really good cartoony video game bad guy.
Yeah, I think that's why I enjoyed the first one as much as I did, because he really fell into that character. Robotnik is just one of those that you love to hate, hate to love kind of thing. But he was fun and he made Robotnik fun. So
Yep,
yeah,
and he
I'll definitely
brings it
revisit
Again,
Any opportunity you think for a potential part 3, or do you think we're
I think
kind of
they've
done with
already
that?
I think they've already announced that they're working on a third.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So I don't
Who
know
thought there
exactly
would
what
be
it's
3 Sonic movies.
right, because the mid-credit scene or end credit scene, whichever it was, teased Shadow coming in. So I don't know if it's like official, but
Mhm.
they've definitely teased that they're bringing Shadow into it.
Well, there's
Interesting.
definitely room for more segments and installments of that
Mhm.
series, because there are so many layers and levels to Sonic. And I mean, we reprised the whole world in terms of video games over and over again. I remember growing up. So yeah, I think that, I mean, if kids are going to watch it, if families are having fun, why not? You know, who am I to say end it there? Let's
Right.
keep going.
Somebody else go. Death on the
And
Nile. I've
Amy,
seen
why don't you
that.
talk about your movie? Because you watched a movie too, right?
Yes, I watched Death on the Nile. The new one, not the old one. I probably should have just watched the old one because I didn't like the new one. Because I love the book. I've read the book twice. It's one of my favorite, like, top 3 Agatha Christie books. And I think they kind of butchered the movie. First off, I do want to say the actor for Perot is fantastic.
Yeah.
Whoever that guy is, I don't know who he is. He plays a fantastic Perot, so they did get that right. But I feel like all of the other actors were really bad. I didn't like their acting at all. And then it felt like all the scenery that they kept showing for Egypt was like stock photos, like stock scenery that you could purchase from like Apple. That's what it felt like, that they were constantly throwing in like a crocodile here and there. But it didn't feel like cinematic. It didn't feel like it could have felt, if that's making any sense. I don't know. It just seemed pretty cheesy, like the certain.
It was definitely cheesy.
Yeah,
I liked the cheese though.
yeah.
But I also haven't read the book.
I loved the how they did the Murder on the Orient Express. The cinematography for that movie was outstanding. But I feel like the cinematography for Death on the Nile was just, it was all like stock. It was like they sent out some college kids to film it, and it just wasn't on par with the first movie. And I did not like the acting, but they changed a lot of the story as well from the book. They did. So I was not a fan of it, but yeah, the guy who plays Perot does a really good Perot.
Yeah, I really like him.
Yeah, I will give him that.
Do we have a change in director from the first to the second one? Is that why there was so much differentiation?
I don't know.
I feel like this is where Steve comes in handy, because
Right.
Steve always knows these
He
things.
would know.
I can tell you miscellaneous actors and, you know, the various movies that we talk about, whether or not I watch them, but yeah, all the extras. I'm like, Steve, come in, Steve.
Same director.
I don't even know the guy's name that plays Perot. I'm just like, that guy. That guy's a good guy. I have no idea. But that's the only movie I watched. I've been playing Zelda, Breath of the Wild Zelda on Switch all month, pretty much every night.
Interesting.
So, yeah, well, I started it a while ago, and then I stopped, but now I've gotten back into it. So I'm trying to like make it a habit to play the game. So, because I feel like I forget how to like press buttons.
Yeah.
Because my brain and my hands don't seem to, like, hand-eye coordination doesn't work for me. So if I do it constantly, like every day, I do get a little bit better. So I'm trying to do that.
So the guy that plays Perot also directed both.
Oh.
Yeah, Kenneth Brand. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Branagh.
Is he like French or Belgian or something? Or is he American?
He's not American, British.
Oh, really?
British actor and filmmaker. Yep. So he's Perot and directed both of them. That I did not know.
No, I had no idea. They seem like they're done by two different people.
Right?
They really do.
That's one of those that I'd have to put in the pronunciation in Google or something.
Yeah.
Because
I know what it is because I've heard people say it, but I can't think.
I would say Branagh, but it could be Branagh.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Maybe?
Steve's going to be watching this and going, oh my God, guys.
You guys are fired.
What am I going to do with you all?
Oh, yeah, he's going to be in the editing stages of this being, oh my God, I can't believe I let them take this over.
That's idiots.
You guys know nothing.
That's funny. No, but that's interesting though, Stacy, that you captured him as your favorite character, and then he happens to be the director also. So that's kind of cool. And maybe there was some intent there, you know, maybe since there was some airiness to the first one. I also had heard some other people talking about this second one, and this was months ago. And they were kind of saying the same things, that the second one just didn't appeal like the first one did. And they felt that maybe it was intentional because there was no intent to continue on with him directing additional Agatha Christie titles. But, you know, like Gina had said, she hasn't read the book. I myself haven't read the book, but I think that's always kind of something that you grapple with as a reader when you go in with the knowledge of the story, and then you're trying really hard to enjoy the film, but you can't help it because you're comparing, you know, you're always comparing those oranges to apples regardless. As a reader, your roots are in the book. So it's unfortunate it didn't pan out for you though, you know, because I know what a big Agatha Christie fan you are, but you know, we'll see, maybe somebody else will take the reins, because sometimes that happens in Hollywood where we get, you know, the best of one vision of a director, and then it kind of passes the torch, because I know there's a ton of other Agatha Christie stories that we could bring to the big screen.
I wonder if they're planning on it.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard.
I haven't heard.
I haven't heard anything. Yeah, I don't
I
know,
would
but
love to
I
see
do
him go
remember
on
some.
to play for us.
What, and maybe he might. Maybe that's why he's stepping back as the director. You know, maybe he just
Yeah.
wants to focus on the acting part of it. But again, I don't know enough about that world. Maybe something we can look into for some future segments and just kind of see if some other titles will be revisited. But
See,
I'm
it's
glad.
great
Well,
to
it
get
seems
her
like
right
Gina
now.
had fun with it though.
I liked it. I think I liked it better than the first one, but it's also, I have only seen the first one like the one time. And then again, I haven't read the books, so I didn't really go in with any expectations. I just went in to have fun.
Mhm.
But I
I like
understand what
those
you're
campy
saying
kind
though.
of- those campy murder mysteries though are fun to me. Like Knives Out, I really enjoyed that
Yeah.
movie. I know that's way off topic, but I just found out they're making a part 2, so
Yep.
I'm super stoked about
There's
that.
It's coming
so many
soon.
So,
people
yeah.
that are like trying to be in that cast. It's crazy.
It's one of
The
the best
first
movies
cast
I've
was
seen in the last 10
phenomenal.
years.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was a really good film. So I'm very much looking forward to part 2. Hopefully it won't disappoint like this one did for you, Stacy, because I
I
feel like
know.
sometimes that happens. You get yourself so built up for part 2 and it's like, wah, wah, wah.
Yeah.
Well,
But I
Daniel
think that one
Craig plays
should
an
be very good.
excellent detective also. Like, I'm
Yeah.
really blown away with Daniel Craig. So,
Hmm.
and he's nice to look at.
Always a plus.
Agreed.
Speaking of part 2, Ozark season 4 part 2 just came out.
Yes. So I don't want to consider myself the subject matter expert on this, but I am the one who viewed this. I know you ladies said you haven't seen it yet, but I feel like
It's on the list.
the kind of the bad bearer of news because I haven't finished it. I have one episode left, which I feel is like the crux of this whole thing to talk about. You want to talk about the finale? Because this is it. I mean, they're not from, of course, what I know, they're not bringing it back, but they could bring it back as like, you know, what they did with like Breaking Bad and have kind of a spin-off show of it or something. I have a feeling I know where it's headed. So you have you know, the revisit of the Bird family, kind of where we left off with them. Season 4 is a lot darker. There's a lot more of a slow pace to this, I feel, and we're kind of narrowing up at the head of this. So for, you know, people who haven't watched Ozark, probably living under a rock, not you guys, but for those that are watching us that haven't seen it, you know, it really is all the talk and buzz of Netflix. It's a really good it's a unique story because, you know, you have this businessman who lives in Chicago who is played by Jason Bateman, and he has this opportunity that kind of falls in his lap, and he gets, you know, trapped in the world of drug trafficking, and he gets messed up with the Mexican cartel, and it's a really interesting story that takes us from Chicago to the Ozarks, and I love that element because I had always been interested in the Ozarks. I knew nothing about them. I always wanted to see what they were. I kind of had a different vision. Maybe that's being a horror fan. I thought it was kind of like The Hills Have Eyes kind of, you know, situation, but the Ozarks are beautiful.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, I could
it's
live
really
there.
pretty down there. My dad actually moved down there a few years ago, like middle of
okay,
COVID,
cool.
just decided he wants to spend retirement at the Ozarks.
You know, I definitely see why. I mean, if you can find a nice place near a lake or, you know,
Yep.
somewhere in that vicinity, it's just beautiful territory, and you get to see all of that beauty. And they kind of do a little bit of mix between helping you kind of see what the Ozarks are all about and how it's very easy to take the busy hustle and bustle of Chicago and just move it right in the middle of the Ozarks. And of course, you have the people who have lived there for years or decades, generations, kind of upset that the birds move in, and they can see that there's corruption. But of course, you have a woman there who is essentially, you know, growing opioids. So there's that whole entanglement. So you get kind of two stories in one for a couple of seasons. And yeah, it's interesting, and they got to kind of keep it mixed up for you, because you can't really just focus on one thing when you're watching a series. You got to have a couple different ways you can turn. So yeah, we get mixed up in the Ozarks with the whole opioids and a heroin entanglement, which starts to piss off the Mexican mafia. And then the birds kind of just get themselves way deeper than they fully anticipated. They have two children, one is 15 and the other is 17, and they get their kids mixed up in it, and their kids kind of become their business partners, which is really intriguing and interesting. Their son, however, though, who's the 15-year-old, is extremely intelligent when it comes to computers, so he's really good at helping them, stack numbers and write the books, and so to speak. So it's a really cool dynamic. So you get that inner family dynamic, and then of course the humor of Jason Bateman just really keeps that rolling. His wife, played by Laura Linney, she's just a ruthless bitch, and as the series continues, you really start to hate her. At least I did. You are not rooting for her. You're kind of hoping somebody will just knock her off, You're like, get rid of this lady already. She's so bad for the family. Her kids end up really, in the end, hating her and resenting her. So like I said, I kind of have my thoughts and theories on how this series will end, because all eyes are kind of pointing at Jason Bateman's character, Marty Bird. But I could be totally wrong. So next time we sit down and talk, ladies, of course, Steve will be here, but I'll let you know. I'll just kind of, spin it out there and say, yes, I was right. No, I was wrong, kind of thing. But if you haven't checked out Ozark, I highly, highly, highly recommend.
I've been waiting for it to be
this
done.
Is it. After this, oh yeah, then this is the time to start. And it's a very bingeable show. I mean, honestly, you're either going to be captivated from the beginning or you're not. I mean, it's one of those things. But if you do enjoy drug trafficking or those kind of stories within a story, because eventually it will even become a little bit deeper than the two things that I just advised, then I think you'll be like, oh, I like this. But the acting, I think a lot of this for me is the acting. I really enjoy, beyond the main two characters, all of these just these relationships that developed. And I promise you'll fall in love with Ruth. She is probably one of the most amazing characters ever created. She's played by Julia Garner, and she's just the funnest. I mean, from top to bottom, she's sassy and brassy and so smart, but in a really sarcastic and cynical way. So I just want to be BFFs with her. So yes, Stacey, I have seen Breaking Bad. Why do you mention it?
Because I've seen the first 4 episodes of the show and I really liked it. So is it comparable? Like, which one do you like better?
I think that they both stand alone for different reasons. In terms of acting and the storyline and stuff, I think they both take similar directions at some point, but they are totally different stories. Okay. So, if you enjoyed Breaking Bad, though, I definitely think that you would like Ozark, because it has that kind of humorous backstory, but there's some real life drama that happens. You see some family matters that kind of come into play as to why the main characters kind of act and react the way that they do, but then it always circles back around to the drugs. So yeah, I definitely think you would enjoy the full series.
Kind of you talking about it.
Breaking Bad.
It kind of reminds me of Weeds, the way you're talking about it.
I have not seen that.
Yeah, and you know what? I didn't finish Weeds in its entirety, but yes, I did watch the first season of Weeds, so yeah, I can definitely see that comparison. Also,
it is also very
similar in terms of
drugs and family and.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what I was just about to say. Yep. It's just kind of how they interact with each other,
Yep.
Okay.
So then on that note, I also watched, my glasses are falling off. I also watched Everything Everywhere All at Once, which doesn't necessarily have drug related things, but they do own a laundromat, which kind of ties into Breaking Bad a little bit, because doesn't he do stuff with a laundromat at some point? Or no, it's a car wash, isn't it?
It's a car wash.
But yeah.
All cleaning facets.
Right.
So I see where you're going with that.
It's there. It's loose. It's there. I feel like that movie was too hyped for me. I tend to not like things when they're overhyped. Like, it was good. I did rate it 4 out of 5 stars. I feel like I should have seen it before it got super hyped though. Like, I feel like I would have liked it better. It's just very long and I had to pee through half of it, but so much happens. I didn't want to get up to pee because I figured I was going to miss stuff. And it's like I can't even really talk about it because it's very hard to explain. It's that movie that's the Asian family that, they're trying to just like make it in America, and so they have the laundromat business, and then out of nowhere the mom of the family like starts being able to travel cross dimensional, and it's just very everything everywhere. Yeah, like you can watch the trailer and it looks very interesting, and then like because I saw the trailer, it's like I want to see that, and then I would forget about it. But then it came out and like everyone's talking about it and how great it is and how it's very unique, and it is, and it was very good. I just feel like it might be just a little bit overhyped, a little bit.
Is it sci-fi?
Yeah, so it's very like people are trying to kill her, but like her husband comes to her from a different dimension who's like, so it's not the husband in her dimension. It's kind of what the MCU is trying to do right now, like bringing all of the universes together. Like, I guess not the different universes, not dimensions, and like the multiverse. That's the word I've been looking for. And so it's
Is
like
it hard to follow?
not too hard. They do a pretty good job of explaining it. It's like it's basically he teaches her how to connect into the multiverse to be able to use skills that hers know. So like in one universe she's like this kung fu master, and so she like taps into that and gets those skills to like help fight off these bad guys. And it was very interesting. It's very good. I want to see it again. Not having drank so much water beforehand might help. Because I think half the time I was just distracted because I was like, I have to pee. How much longer is left in this movie? But it was good. I just feel like it was a little overhyped because everyone like
I think
really loves
this
it.
is a lot for me with sci-fi movies. Like I go in with the expectation that it's going to be amazing, and then I feel that it's overhyped. So I don't know. Maybe it's just that genre.
Yeah, because I don't know, like everyone's like, oh my God, it's so good. It's like the most unique movie in like forever, which yes, because it's not based off a book or anything, but I don't know. I'm not going to buy it. So,
Well, then, in my opinion, it's not the greatest movie ever because the
right,
greatest movies ever you buy, like
right.
you want to go and get your own copy. So yeah, no.
Like I'll watch it
But
again, but I'm not like rushing to watch it again, if that makes sense.
it's colorful though. I just pulled it up because I wasn't sure what you were talking about. It looks good.
Yeah, it was
I'll
good.
check it out.
I just feel like I wasn't in the right mindset. Maybe also, I don't know. I liked it though.
Happens.
But speaking of hype, hockey playoffs are starting. They start on Monday. My Blues are playing the Wild. Steve's Rangers are playing the Penguins. I'm sure we'll have more to discuss
Capitals are
next
really
month.
big here, but I don't watch hockey. But a lot of the people I know are like, "Oh, the Capitals."
Are they in? They are in. They're playing Florida. They're playing Florida.
I know
Panthers are
nothing
in.
about
Interesting.
hockey or the teams.
I'm very
Except
excited because the last like 2 months of Blues hockey has felt like 2019 Blues hockey, which is when we won the cup for the first time. So the potential is there. And I now work a block from our arena, so I can walk down and do all the prep rally stuff and then walk back to my car and go home and watch the game.
That's fun.
That will be fun. I'm looking forward to that. But that's really all I have with hockey.
Get out the foam finger.
Yep. So with hockey, they do playoff beards. And a few years ago, I'm like, I want a playoff beard. Why do the men get to have all the fun? So I crocheted myself a blue and yellow playoff beard. And then I put I put my cat in a Blues jersey and then sent the picture into one of the news sites here, and it got on the news.
Wow.
That was fun.
That's awesome.
That was fun.
Well, good luck this season. I'm glad that it's getting off to a good start for you.
I'm excited. So I'm sure Steve and I'll have much to chat about next month with that. Especially depending on how
I'm a big sports fan all the way around.
Yeah.
I just do hockey. Hockey and Olympics are about it for me. I can do.
I'm a big football fan. I like baseball, but in person, I do hockey, but I'm not like a fanatic hockey fan. I'm a Los Angeles Kings fan. And
Oh.
so, I mean, beyond, yeah, sorry. I mean, I don't know in terms of rivalry where that leaves us, but
I just
that
don't
just goes
like
to show you how
them.
much of a hockey fan.
I think they're a bunch of dirty cheats, but that's me.
I've heard that. I have heard that many times, so it's okay. Maybe they are, but
The friend I went to visit in California used to live in LA. He grew up in LA, so he used to be a Kings fan, but now he's a San Jose Sharks fan because he lives closer to San Jose now. And I'm like, that's good. I can tolerate them a little bit better than LA, but like we would have issues if it was just LA. But he's like not a super big hockey fan, so I'm like, it's fine. Just know if you ever get me to go to an LA game, I am never wearing an LA jersey ever.
the only reason that came about for a child, and I would see their logo everywhere. You know, you'd pick up the keychains or the magnets and stuff like that. So I just became a Kings fan that way. So yeah, definitely not die hard, but I've heard that dirty term
dirty
before.
cheats.
So maybe that's what they are. I don't know. Well, good luck to you.
I don't think they made it in this year, actually. Oh, no, they did. Oh, I should tell Anson. I told him that they didn't. Whoops. My bad.
Well, there was your public announcement. You did.
LA is in the playoffs. I'll just send him this video. Like, oh, by the way, here. There's an announcement for you. Oh, goodness. All right, so the last main thing I have to talk about is my old thing. I started watching Supernatural because it's done.
I've yet to see that.
I am really enjoying it.
Good looking dude in that show.
Yeah. It's one of those shows that everyone's like has always loved, and I'm just like, meh. I didn't want to start, in the middle of where it is, because I guess it wasn't available to like catch up from, and I'm definitely the kind of person that I gotta start from the beginning. I can't just hop in on season 5. Like, that's just weird to me. And like everyone would always tell me, gotta make it at least through season 3. Like the first 2 seasons aren't really good. You can even skip to season 3. I'm like, hold up, that's not my style. I understand now. I'm at the end of season 4, so I understand where everyone is saying you can skip to season 3, and like where season 3 it gets really, really good. However, if you skip to season 3, you miss all the backstory. And so like you don't get the backstory about their dad or their mom, or like how they became hunters, and like you don't get any of that. But season 3 is where it starts getting creepy, and season 3 is where I started having weird dreams.
We watched the Scooby-Doo episode where it's a cartoon.
Ooh, that'll be fun. I have not gotten that. I did get to the
whole thing is they get sucked into the Scooby-Doo world, and it's all animated, and it's
that's
amazing.
cool. I have gotten to the black and white movie monster episode. That one was cool too.
That's fun. Cammie, you would love that show. It's similar to Buffy vibes.
Yes,
in a way. You would love it.
Just watching it makes me want to rewatch Buffy. Like I almost stopped it to rewatch Buffy.
I've been told that many times, and the only reason I have not is for basically piggybacking off what Gina just said is I'm not one to jump in, and that show was still airing when people had suggested for me to watch it. And then I realized how far advanced the show was. And by the time everything was said and done, I think you're like 15 or 16 seasons. So I said, nope, I'm going to wait until it's done, it's wrapped, and then I'll start from the beginning, because I'm just not one to kind of, flip-flop around. So I will get to it. It's just now very overwhelming with the amount of seasons I have to watch.
That's exactly what I said. And then and now it's done. And I was looking for something to watch. I'm like, well, I'll start this now. Why not? 15 seasons, no problem.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Yeah, you would really like it.
It's really good. It's impressed me. I understand the hype.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it gets rave reviews from everyone I've ever known that has watched it. So I'm sure it's an incredible series, but I need to make the time. And every time I think I have time, then I start doing something or rewatching something like I'm doing now. So I don't know what spun this, but Steve and I, of course, you guys know we do comic books together. And so he has been pining for me to watch Superman, the animated series, which I did not even know existed. So somehow, while trying to find that, I'm like, oh, let me rewatch Batman the animated series, but as an adult. I felt like as a kid, I was watching it just because it was what was on, you know, because yes, folks, I'm that old. I was watching Batman the animated series as it was coming out weekly.
I did too.
So this time, oh, well, I know you and I are the same age, but I didn't know if you ever watched it. That was the thing.
I loved it.
So you are, yeah, that
And
was for
my kids
me.
to watch it.
Well, you know what? I think really looking back on it now, I think that worked twofold for me because it really got me involved in the realm of Gotham City and Batman and why I fell in love with the character of Batman. But it's also very gritty and dirty and dark. And I think that kind of helped catapult, you know, that side of me that obviously had already been embedded since I was a kid, but it gave me that dark side of DC. And that's always stuck with me. I just always told Steve, I remember, you know, Gotham and DC being dark. And then when he introduced me to DC horror, I'm like, oh yeah, so this has been made for me. I love this stuff. But watching it through an adult lens is so much better because I'm paying attention to the storyline and the characters and watching it all unfold and kind of getting the backstory on some of these characters. And now knowing kind of behind the scenes of comic books, I also know voice actors watching this. So it's a really interesting dynamic to pay attention to all of those elements. Who directed this episode and who did the voicing for this episode. So I'm watching it from a completely different point of view and I'm loving it and eating it up. And then eventually that will segue me into watching Superman the animated series. Because I know right now he's watching Spider-Man the animated series, but I think that one is more modern if I'm not mistaken. But he can talk about that with us when he gets back because I know he's kind of midway through that right now. Yeah, we're a bunch of nerds here.
The dialogue, Cammy, that a lot of stuff I would have went over my head watching it as a kid, watching it as an adult. I'm like, wow, that's funny. How did I know I didn't get that as a kid. Like the dialogue's really good.
100%. And just even how it kind of segued into the movies, you know, of course we had different directors and different actors that played Batman over the years, but just kind of seeing that development and kind of where it took the Batman franchise as a whole. So yeah, it's interesting to watch something that's intended for a child as an adult because you're like, no, this should have never been made for my age group then. This was made for me now.
It happens so often.
It's dark, but it's fun. And I think, you know, in terms of the content, because I know sometimes, you know, when you talk about dark, you talk about ratings. I don't think it's too deep though. I think, you know, kids now then and now can enjoy it. And I think some of that stuff that we get now will go over their heads and they won't fully grasp it. So it's still safe.
Well, there's so much like watching old cartoons and stuff, like all of the very, very inappropriate jokes. It's like, I did not understand that.
I know I didn't get that one.
Yeah, and I always say that to myself now watching modern day cartoons. I'll kind of look over at my husband when we're watching, you know, cartoons with our 7-year-old and it's like, ouch, do you think he got that? Because that was highly inappropriate. And I'm like, oh my God, have I gotten that old where I'm now analyzing cartoons? Is this appropriate? Oh God, yeah. But it's funny when you watch cartoons with kids versus when you're watching cartoons with by yourself, you know, you're scrutinizing things like, oh, is that appropriate? Hold on, let me cover your eyes.
And then it just draws more attention to it.
Oh yeah, always. I remember my mom doing that to me and I would always be like, yeah, I'm not watching, mom, I'm not watching,
When you laugh at something and then they don't laugh and you're like, oh, they didn't get that. Oh, okay. Like you realize that was made for the adult when the kid doesn't laugh. Like, they have no idea what just happened here.
And sometimes though, I find myself now as an adult laughing at things that are typically very cynical and sinister. And my husband will give me the side eye. He'll be like, why are you laughing? I'm like, oh,
It
that
was
wasn't funny
funny.
to you?
What the hell is wrong with you?
I would laugh at some really twisted things, and I realize in the back of my mind it's wrong, but in my world it makes complete sense. This happens
Yeah.
quite often to me.
Yep, there's more times than not where I'd be the only person laughing in a theater. It's like, oh.
That's okay. There's a reason we've all gravitated together, you know.
Right.
We get each other.
Similarly with rewatching things when as an adult, I started rereading the Harry Potter books, but as the UK versions because I've never read those
Awesome.
before. And so I've actually found the UK audiobooks. And so I've been re-listening to those, and I'm on the Goblet of Fire now, which is my favorite. And so it's like it's interesting to see the tidbits that are like, okay, I didn't quite understand that as, you know, a
Are
10-year-old
there
reading it.
differences in terms of dialogue with the UK and the American versions?
I haven't noticed much in the later ones. There is a lot in the first one, like they just use different terminology, like jumper versus sweater, like that sort of thing. But for the most part, I haven't noticed too much of a difference. It's just, I know for sure it's a different narrator. And so Stephen Fry does the UK ones and Jim Dale does the US ones. So that's been fun, like seeing the difference, like how they're produced differently too. But I do have the physical copies of the UK ones too. And like the most differences are just between terminology between here and there. So like cookies for them are, you know, crackers for us essentially, or like all the different little things that as a kid
Chips
definitely
and crisps.
wouldn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like very little things. But
yeah, when they released the 20th anniversary house editions, I got the UK versions of those. Well, what I started off thinking was my house, so I started getting the Slytherin ones, and then somehow in the midst of that found out I was a Ravenclaw. So now I have a beautiful dual set of UK versions because I'm a Slytherin because I refuse to give up my Slytherin identity.
Fair. I started getting those. I have the first two. I need to get the rest of them. I have a collection of the first book. I have over 20 copies of the first book. All of them are different.
Wow.
Yeah.
I do that with Alice in Wonderland, so I totally get that. It's fun. It's really cool to see all the different variations and interpretations.
I've got multiple UK editions. They're all on my mantle, so I'm looking at them. I have 2 Italian editions. I have a German one. I have the Scots one. And then I have the various anniversary editions. And then I have a Scholastic one that I've never seen anywhere else that I got at school. That's like this big.
That is highly collectible. That is highly collectible because it is so hard to find. Yes, hold on to that.
It definitely.
Because I know Harry Potter or Potterheads, as you guys like to refer to, looking for that and would give probably their firstborn child for that copy.
I'm not dropping stuff. Ignore that.
Yeah, that was just a noise. Yep.
Well, that's cute.
Yeah, it's Scholastic, and I don't know why it has like lamination on it. I don't know.
I think that's library.
Maybe.
It's pretty.
It is very pretty, and like I've never seen this anywhere, so I'm glad that I have it. And then yes, I've got like a good 20 different copies of the first book.
That's neat.
Like I would like to collect the 4th one because it's my favorite, but it's just too thick. That is a chunky boy.
I have the original hardcover first editions, and then I only have up to book 3 and the UK 20th anniversary editions, but I started buying the hardcover and the paperback because the paperback is like the full color, and then the hardcover, the hardcover is black, which is really cool too. So it looks really cool when you like space them like that. And then I became obsessed with the Mina Lima versions that came out. I think they started in 2020. Oh my God.
I've got what, the 3rd one just came out, or the 4th one?
I've never seen in my whole life. No, they're really on the 2nd one.
They're only on the 2nd one? Okay, I have both of them. Has the pre-order come out for the 3rd one? I feel like I've ordered the 3rd one already.
The 3rd, the 3rd one's on pre-order. The 3rd one
then
comes
I've pre-ordered
out, I want to
it.
say in September. Yeah.
Okay.
These are amazing. Stacy, you
So
must have
pretty.
these if you love Harry Potter because, okay, they have like beautiful illustrations,
And like
but
pop
they're
outs.
like, yeah, they're like, okay, well, this one's not a pop out. This one is like a mover. I don't know. It's like a spinner mover. I gotta find something that pops out. Let me see. Okay, here.
I got the
This
first
is
one right
I
here.
mean, they're crazy beautiful.
Yeah.
So see, like,
So you got the second one. This is the
this
first one.
opens up.
Oh.
Yeah, okay, cool.
So like, yeah,
Yeah,
this
I mean, they're
pops
just like
out.
crazy cool. So see, like, this is the three-dimensional picture.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you've got the pretty one. That's what I was looking
This is
for.
the
So
first
that's in the
one.
first one. Yeah, that's like the whole street lining with all the stores. Yeah, like this is
And
a spinner. So you can do different. I mean, this is so
it's like the chest.
hands-on. They're so amazing.
I
Oh,
haven't
that's gorgeous.
seen
Yeah, I
that.
love that.
It's so Mina Lena did the art for all the movies, right?
Yes.
Like that's what this is.
Yes.
Oh, so pretty.
Yes.
What are you saying? Are you saying Mina Lima?
Mina Lima. Yes.
Mina Lima. That they're the two artist names combined.
Oh,
what it is.
okay.
So
Okay.
I was thinking of
yeah.
the other illustrated ones. That's the Jim K illustrated ones.
Oh,
That's the
yeah,
ones that are on the
they're
fourth.
Yeah, that one they're on the
Yeah.
fourth. And those are the ones I almost got until I saw these. And it was actually the cover that drew me in.
Yep.
Then I saw the end papers, and then I saw what was inside it, and I'm like, oh my god. I mean, full color illustrations, they're so
Yeah.
exquisite. Even the pages that don't do anything, I mean, they're just beautiful.
Yep.
So I highly recommend these. They're a little pricey. I think they run about $40 a book,
Yeah.
but if you get them, you know, on pre-sale, or if you get them, when you get them when Barnes and Noble releases them, they give you a free poster to accompany those
Ooh.
books, and those posters are a mint. I'm telling you, if you can get your hands on the poster, the one that goes to the first book, I missed out on it because I was like, I'll just sit on it. I don't know if I want it or not. And now you can't find that poster for anything less than $500 online.
Dang.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I didn't
Wow.
know that.
That's cool. Yeah, I haven't seen those. I'll have to look for that. Because I just have the
They're
regular
absolutely
posters.
beautiful.
I also just
No,
want to show
yeah,
off.
I was almost gonna get those.
They're really pretty. I just want to show off one more, the original Italian edition. You can't find this one anywhere either. I've looked for the rest of the series. I don't know why he's wearing a rat head. I don't know why the rat's there. This is the first book, so it's not like it's the third one with Pettigrew or anything. But
That's so weird.
yeah, I got this as a graduation present because I took Italian in college, and so it's like I could probably read that. No. But I can't find this anywhere because I've tried looking for the fourth one in these covers because they've like redone all the covers.
There's a guy on YouTube who has made it his life's mission to find the Harry Potter series in every language, and I mean his library is outstanding. I mean, he's got replicas and you name it, but he has the most extensive collection of full series books.
Dang.
And I wouldn't be surprised if he has all 7 of those. There's another girl whom I follow on Instagram mostly, but she does have a YouTube channel also, and she's starting to incorporate the different series of different countries and so forth.
Mhm.
But even her collection is far behind that gentleman. I mean, I would say he had them probably from just about every country you could think of. I mean, of course, like the main countries, not like little countries
Right.
within countries, but he still had an amazing amount of books, and then he had all the wands, and it was just fun to watch his collection. I would never do that because I have all this stuff. I can't do Harry Potter on top of all that, but I do have a very impressive Harry Potter section. I say it because I'm looking over here. Despite not collecting, I still have a lot of crap. I have a sorting hat and a Triwizard cup and all of
that's
these
fun.
things. And so yeah, I have a lot of.
I have a lot of the
You know what
Funkos.
I love about it. I have a ton of Funko. I actually had to reduce my Funko collection though, because I kind of have those towered, and you can see I have a lot of space up here. My roof here goes a lot higher behind me than it does over here, so I had to kind of just go to that point and stop. I'm like, okay, that's it. That's all I can fit. But yeah, it's just, it's insane. You can get every freaking character in every movie, and it's like, what is enough? You know? So I had
Yeah.
to say, that's enough. I'm done.
Yeah, I eventually stopped too. And then even like half of my Harry Potter Funkos are in the basement in a box somewhere. I'm just like have my favorite ones out.
Well,
I
I
did
think
get
the only Harry Potter Funkos that I will continue to collect is the professors, because I do know that they are going to be continuing the professors. And then they also released like they do a mugshot of certain things. And I can't remember, they just released something that caught my eye, and I'm like, oh my god, I have to have that. So it was something to do with Dumbledore, and it was the Mirror of Erised. Dumbledore
Ooh.
is standing behind Harry, and Harry's looking at his family in the mirror. That's going to be a Funko sometime next year, supposedly.
Okay, I'll probably get
I
that.
was like, okay, I'll get that one.
Yeah, definitely been picking and choosing. The most recent one I got is the anniversary one with Harry with his trolley cart, which I had my mom buy me for my birthday or for Christmas or whatever. I guess it was Christmas. And then I forgot about it. So when I opened it, I was very, very shocked. And she was just like, yeah, I did that on my own. It's like, oh, right. Forgot I
I
had you
got
buy
the
that.
one, the original version of that one where he's actually on the wall, and I use that as a bookend. So
Oh, that's fun.
I have that. Yeah. But and then the one with him with all the envelopes coming out of the fireplace.
Yeah, I wanted that one. I missed out on that one.
That one is really awesome. If you can get your hands on it, that one's well worth it. It's beautiful. My favorite one though has to be the one of Ron on the chest knight.
Yeah, I don't have that one either. See, I missed out on a lot of the ones that like I wanted, but I'm like, I don't have room. I do have Harry
Yeah,
on the
it's all
with the
about
sorting
room.
hat. I really like that one. I have a lot of the ones from the fourth
I
movie.
don't have that. I know I have two of them. I think I only have Ron and Hermione in the Sorting Hat. I don't think I have Harry. I know
Harry's the only one I have.
I have one. Yeah, I think I don't have Harry, and I don't know how I missed out on him because they were all released around the same time.
Right.
But I don't have Harry. So
Alice,
yeah, there's a few out there still. Oh, and then I never got Professor Quirrell with Voldemort.
yeah,
in the
I
back
wanted
of his
that one
head.
too.
That is like, oh, I
I
want
never got
that
that
one
one
so
either.
bad, and I've had it in my hand. Well, not like physical hands. I've had it like on an eBay cart, and then somebody keeps outbidding me,
Oh
and I
no,
have not won an auction. That is one of my favorites, though. But yeah, I don't have that
that's
one.
a cool one.
Alas. But yeah, Harry Potter's fun. It's just magical and it's fun.
I also have some Fantastic Beast Funkos. My favorite is the Jude Law one because I love Jude Law. So very excited to have Jude Law as Funko.
He's hot.
Yes, yes. Was very excited when they announced him as Dumbledore. It's like, yes, please. I will watch him in a suit for 3 hours. But speaking of Fantastic Beasts, I also saw the Fantastic Beasts movie, the third one that just came out after a million years. I really liked it. I liked it.
Coming out.
It I still don't think it's necessary that we need Dumbledore's story, but you know, it is what it is. I feel like there were more beasts in this one than the second one. I haven't watched the second one in a really long time, but it feels like there were more beasts in this one than there was in the second one. But it was pretty good, and I'm excited to see what they do with the fourth one. Assuming the fourth one is still happening. There's supposed to be 5.
What?
However, this franchise seems cursed because you've got all the stuff happening with Ezra Miller now. So who knows what's going to happen that?
Yeah.
And then
He
Grindelwald
went
is
off the
now
freaking deep end.
Yeah, that I was looking forward to his Flash movie too,
Yeah.
but that's probably not going to happen anymore.
Well, and I think he kind of screwed himself with the second, I mean, from what it sounds like, there's no turning back for him now, because they did give
No.
him a second chance and said, hey, but I mean, after this last thing that happened, you
Right.
can't undo that.
No.
He just seems like he's
What
gone
happened?
crazy.
A little bit.
He's assaulted some people. Was it all in Hawaii?
I think it was
that the
all in
assault took
Hawaii.
place?
Yeah.
Is he an actor?
Yeah. So
He
he
is. So he played the Flash in the Justice League,
yeah.
Zack
Oh.
Snyder's Justice League.
And then he was
Yeah, so
supposed
he
to
played
have
the
his own
Flash, and
movie.
he's so amazing. He
Yes.
took my breath away in the first one. I mean, that's how good his acting was. I was so looking forward to his own personal story. And then he went apeshit in Hawaii. So he assaulted a couple at a bar.
Yeah.
And then a few days later or a week later, he did the same exact thing to somebody else. And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you?
And that's just the tip of the iceberg too.
Yeah. Oh, there's so much more to that story. Yeah, I don't. I implore you to look it all up because we're gonna miss a lot of. And we don't have all the time to talk about Ezra Miller. I mean, he could be a topic all his own.
Right.
But yeah. Do some research, Stacy. See what we're talking about.
Okay, I have no idea.
He's fantastic and I love him, and everything that's come out is just so sad because he plays Credence in the Fantastic Beasts movies, and I feel like Credence's story is kind of done. Like they could go into it more, but it'll be easy to write him out. Like I don't think they'll have to recast him. I did think it was weird that they made him, like his character in this movie looks like Snape, and I feel like they did that on purpose, and I don't like it. It was weird.
Mm-hmm.
It was just
there's
weird.
only one Snape.
Yeah, and it was I don't know. It just because they gave him the really long greasy black hair, and it's just like, can we not like let him be his own person? It was strange. So, I'm kind of ready for his storyline to be done anyway. But, then the movie's also cursed because we've had 3 Grindelwalds, which was purposeful in the first one because he was using Polyjuice Potion or whatever. And then all the Johnny Depp stuff happened. And that's why that and COVID is why this one got pushed back so many years.
Oh.
Because Johnny Depp was Grindelwald.
Yeah, that's actually why I wrote off Fantastic Beasts. I'm like, if I can't have Johnny Depp, I want nothing to do with the franchise. So
yeah, I wasn't
really
gonna go see it because same reasons, but I'm too obsessed. And then one of my coworkers was like, let's go see it. I'm like, okay. So it was Mads Mikkelsen did okay, but it wasn't Johnny. Like I wanted Johnny's Grindelwald. No one is. And
no one is. Yeah.
I think they're really stupid for taking him out of it.
I think it's shitty, and I think that there are certain actors in this Hollywood realm that you cannot replace, and Johnny Depp is one of those actors. And I'm Team Depp 100%.
Same.
And I think our audience can kind of see where we're going with this. Our hot topic button issue this month is going to be Johnny Depp, because we want to talk about it. Steve's not here. We're going to be girls and we're going to gab and we're going to gossip and we're going to talk about Johnny Depp because we can. And Steve's not here to tell us we can't. So, so if you're living under a rock, then you don't know what we're talking about. But Johnny Depp has really been given a bad rap. So, of course, we're talking about the whole debacle, which is what I'd rather call it than a trial.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp and Amber Heard are currently under litigation in Virginia. They're in Fairfax, Virginia. And this kind of stems back years, though. So taking a look at the history, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard met in 2009 on set for The Rum Diaries. And that's kind of where Johnny Depp says they had a kiss, they had a moment, the shower scene, which if you've ever seen that shower scene, it's kind of gross. Like, I'm sorry, but maybe it's because I know what I know now.
Yeah.
I get really violently ill when I watch that scene, and I just want to throw up in my mouth and not swallow it because it's gross. So that's where they met, but obviously Johnny Depp was married at the time to beautiful Vanessa, and they have kids together, and so they made their movie. They went on about their separate ways. A couple of years later, which is kind of weird how long it takes to do a movie premiere, but it took a couple years. So fast forward 2011, sparks fly, and they're now an item. But they didn't end up getting married until 2014, I want to say. Am I right on that?
I'm not sure. It sounds right.
Because they were only married a year.
Right. And this whole debacle has been going on 5 years now. So
15 months, and then he realized she was nothing short of batshit crazy, and she made his life a living hell. And I really think that this trial, if it does nothing else, it highlights how insane she is and at what lengths she would have gone to completely ruin Johnny Depp. So
Yep.
of course we've touched on Fantastic Beasts, but in this trial they also bring up Pirates of the Caribbean, which I'm, sporting today, Team Depp over here. And I'm really pissed because that's another franchise that got totally assed out, and we're not going to get Depp in. Oh, beautiful. I love it. I love it. Perfect segue. And you can see now, Funkos, they just touch everything in our lives. So there's a reason why we own this mini. But yeah, she totally fucked that up for us as well. So we're not going to get Johnny Depp in 6. And now they're trying to make it about a female pirate, which, fine. I
Make
don't
it
care,
a different
but that's
series.
not what we go. Exactly.
Like,
We
make it
don't
on
go
thing.
to watch Pirates of the Caribbean without
For the
fucking
pirates.
Jack Sparrow. Like,
Right.
seriously. Yeah.
Not
So
cool.
we could take this from so many vantage points, and I don't want to sit here and just bag on Amber Heard because, quite frankly, up until the time that Johnny Depp took her under his wing, I didn't know shit all about her.
Same.
And I really think that's what this boils down to, is that she has some kind of bitch complex chip on her shoulders, that she wanted to use Johnny's fame and fortune to get her to A-list status. It didn't happen, and her batshit crazy serious "this is who I am" personality so preceded her end quest. And so she, instead of getting what she wanted, decided, well, this isn't working, and I'm not the A-list person that I wanted to be, so let me ruin his career. Like a little bitch baby that she is.
Yep.
So, yeah, let's talk about this crazy trial. So, Stacey, I know you've been watching it like crazy. I have watched bits and pieces of it. Tell me I'm not the only one who thinks this is like some kind of really crazy Hollywood weird trial.
Yeah, she's a lunatic. So you know my background, Cammie. Gina, you don't know it, but my mom had schizophrenia. So I grew up with, being surrounded with like severe mental illness. My mom would be put into mental institutions. My dad would have her committed. It was that level of sickness. And I see some things, not schizophrenia, but I see some things in this trial with Amber.
Yeah.
And like the looks on her face, like there's certain looks that she has, like smirk, while Johnny is like talking about severe pain that he's suffering, like when his mom died and he's talking about this deep pain he's going through, and then she'll get this like smirk, and then she'll bite her lip to try to keep herself from smiling. And I'm just like, she is sick. That lady is like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Didn't I just read somewhere that they, like, someone recently, like, I don't know if it's an official diagnosis, but it's like, yeah, this broad has borderline personality disorder for sure.
Yes, she's messed up, and she needs help.
And like, hasn't she been like dressing similarly to like what he's doing to like get into his head or whatever?
Like how she's emulating him. So she finds out what he's wearing, and then she wears the same thing, or she does her hair the same way. She's trying to emulate him. She's a wacko.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually when they met, she was hiding it really well.
Yeah.
She was playing normal, but you can only hide it for so long, and then your true self comes out. And I think that's what happened within that first year of their marriage. She was hiding it, and then it came out, and he was like, "Holy shit, like, you're nuts."
Well, and that's what's so crazy about thinking that you know someone. I mean, obviously him and Vanessa had been together for like, 18 years or something like that. They had been married for 15, but they had been together longer before they got married. But you can't just have a moment on screen when you're hired actors and then assume that it's a thing, like it's love at first sight or whatever. And so many Hollywood couples get together that way. And granted, yes, some do ride off into the sunset, but far few in between actually make it to forever. And I think that's unfortunately what happened, is he got caught up in this lustful moment. And I mean, there's a severe age difference between them also. You know, I'm not saying that you can't have an age gap and it doesn't work, but she's now 36. So, you know, you take that back, you know, 6 years, she was in her late 20s when they met. So she hasn't even really grown up yet. And Johnny's like, what, 58 or something like that?
Yeah, late
Something
50s.
like that.
Yeah, late 50s. So clearly they're in two very different worlds. They have very different experiences. So, you know, beyond that, if she is crazy, and you know, I don't know what her overall clinical diagnosis. I know that they have spoken to a psychologist on this stand, and she's actually been my favorite part of the trial so far. Miss Curry, I think her first name is
That's her
Stephanie.
name.
Okay, yeah, she is fantastic. She is extremely thorough, and the cross-examination is nothing but humorous on, you know, Amber's side of things. When they ask her, like, they went on for fucking 15 minutes about muffins. It's like, shut the fuck up about muffins. Like, why we are talking about someone's career, about defamation of their career, and you want to talk about muffins on the stand? Really? It baffles me how, and I'm sure the jury sees this, that Amber really doesn't have a leg to stand on.
Yeah.
So the trial, of course, is Johnny's. Johnny is suing Amber Heard for $50 million for defamation. She countersued for $100 million, but I don't think she's going to win this. I really don't. I don't think that there is enough substantial evidence in her favor for anybody to take her seriously. I mean, all her crazy is coming out. I even saw a small clip of the guy, or one of the guys at one of the hotels that they stayed in. He was like one of the bus boys, or the ones that go to your room to check on you. You know, like one of the front desk kind of clerk situations. And he said, yeah, I was actually called in the middle of the night to investigate scratches that appeared at the bottom of the door because she was convinced someone was coming to get her. And he's like, and clearly it was from a dog. Like, seriously, you're going to call me in the middle of the night for this? He's like, I just want nothing to do with these people anymore. I just want to go back to my life. So it's little things like that kind of just tell you where she's at. She's grasping seriously, you know?
All the
I'm
evidence that
baffled.
she's presenting makes her look terrible. Like
Yeah.
her evidence that she's giving to be against Johnny shows her in the worst light possible. And I'm like, I don't think you understand what you're supposed to be doing here, because you're making yourself look terrible. Your lawyers are the worst. Her lawyers
Horrible.
are idiots.
Now, I haven't seen her actually on this stand yet, but I have seen Johnny on a couple of occasions, aside from questioning by her attorneys or by his attorneys. And I'll have to say there's been a couple of clips that I've had to turn off, because in some instances, and I understand he's representing himself kind of in a way, he's trying to turn that negative light into something positive, but there's been so much family error that has come to this trial. You know, his sister was on the stand and they were talking about his childhood and a lot of dark areas of his childhood, but there are some instances where Johnny Depp, you know, even though I'm team Johnny, I'm just like, come on, dude, shut up already. We love you, we're rooting for you, but we don't need your sob story, you know, where he's sitting there and he's elongating the question, or he's adding in like a whole other element to the question. We don't need all of that. And in those moments, I have to just look away, because I don't need all of that sobness. I don't need to know about his childhood. He's not on trial for his character, you know, 30 years ago. He's on trial for his character in the last decade. So that bothers me. I don't understand why he's doing that.
He does go on for very long telling a story.
Yeah.
Like something could be told in, you know, 2 or 3 sentences. He makes it, you know, like a 15-minute, this whole thing.
Yeah.
He does do that. Yeah.
So this is supposed to be a 6-week-long trial. Some say it's already over in terms of like how much more can we endure as people. But I think this always brings to light how much attention we give celebrities, you know, in terms of how we kind of boost them up and we put them on the pedestal, and when they are in situations like this, we see that they're nothing more than regular human beings. You know, they live normal lives, they do normal things in really abnormal ways, I guess, because some of the things that they're bringing to light, I didn't need to know that. But it definitely does, you know, bring into question how we do kind of idolize these celebrities, and we shouldn't. We really should just kind of take them for face value, because at the end of the day, it's all a facade. And that's kind of how I feel about all of this. And it's sad because he's right. No matter what happens in this, no matter how we move forward, even if he wins this, his reputation is tarnished. Even if you are team Heard, and you're always going to be team Heard, at some point those people that were team Heard were also team Depp. When they got together, they were, oh, they're a couple, how wonderful. And then she started making these accusations, and they were like, fuck him, because that's how our society automatically thinks. If a man is a wife beater, we are for the woman. And that's how it should be. We should rally behind women. We should strengthen their stories and their voices. But there's two sides to every story. And I think that's also what the trial is doing for, you know, women, is saying, hey, if you're right, you're right. But if you're wrong, don't fucking make up accusations like that. Like, that is not what women are fighting for. If it genuinely truly happened to you, we will stand behind you. But when you're creating these fabrications just for the better part of boosting your career, you are doing an injustice to women all around the world. And really, that's how us women that are Team Johnny feel. It's like, you have completely not only tarnished who you are, whatever credibility you had, but you have also smeared the lipstick on every woman who's ever spoken out against sexual abuse, domestic violence, or even any realm in that capacity, because you thought it was going to help you in boosting a career. Like, that's disgusting to me. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I'm really upset more than anything about that.
And like, when it all first started happening and everyone like immediately was like, yes, we're on her side, it's like, okay, but look at all the evidence. Like, look at everything. There's no solid evidence that he did what she is saying. There's solid evidence that she did what he's saying. And like, the people that are definitely, well, no, we have to believe the woman. We have to believe the woman. It's like, no, like, yes, but no. Yeah. It's like, believe the ones that have the proof, but like, we should hold the women accountable, because if there is no proof, or if there's like not even necessarily proof per se, but like when there's legit solid evidence that she's lying, that's when you stop believing her, like, or at least start questioning her too.
Our society does not want to believe that, but it's absolutely true,
which is kind of like coming up with the whole Will Smith and the slap thing, and how it's like, okay, look at their relationship.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing we could talk about too. I mean, now he's on a spiritual journey. It's like, really, dude? There was an anonymous quote in the Variety magazine that somebody did, and it couldn't have been said, or it couldn't have been said better. It was like, dude, there's not enough namastes in the world. You have not even yet apologized to Chris Rock. Like, that speaks volumes for your character. And I love Will Smith, and I'm heartbroken for him right now, because clearly there's a lot more to the Will Smith story too. I mean, that can be a whole other story we talk about. Jada is not what she seems to be. She's definitely a wolf in sheep's clothing. But he had a choice, and he's the one who decided to stand up that day. For whatever reason, whatever was on his mind, whatever he thought that made that a good idea, he chose to get out of his seat. He chose to use the Academy Awards, one of the most prestigious awards in Hollywood, and go make an ass out of himself. And for what? Because he made a joke? It wasn't even funny. It's like, really, dude? That's all you got on Jada? Come on. I'm heartbroken for him, because he's a broken man. And I think that as a whole, we're not talking about that. Like, he's in pain. He's in visible pain. I mean, when you can stand up and you can cry, uncontrollably sob like that, you're crying out for help. And I think the Will Smith that we saw that day was the child that couldn't save his mom from domestic abuse. abuse, you know, and really
Mhm.
that's what this is all about. This is about, there's domestic abuse stories that deserve to be heard and protected and fought for, and then there's ones that are fabricated, and we need to respect both for what they are and call them out for what they are. Rally behind the voices that need to be advocated for, but then also put women like Amber Heard, who is an absolute disgrace to women everywhere, in their place and say, hey, what you did was not cool, and there are consequences for your actions. I
Yep.
mean, beyond just the atrocious amount of money she's tried to rob from Johnny Depp, she's just really set women back years.
Yep. He got her on tape where she was saying, like, yeah, go ahead and try to tell them that I'm abusing you. Go ahead, say
Yep.
it. No one's going to believe you. I was like, oh my God. Like, she is so disgusting.
There was even one recording that they had her on that she was trying to somehow, I don't even know how to describe this, but she was explaining to him that, admitting that she hit him,
Mhm.
but then
Mhm.
trying to kind of like go around her words and like, okay, yes, I hit you, but it's not like it hurt. It's not like, you know, I punched you in the face. A hit is a hit. It's still a violent act, and you still did it. So
Right.
regardless if it was a slap or a punch, you still physically hurt your spouse whom you're supposed to love and cherish. Like, what part of that
Yep.
did you not get?
Yep.
And she's trying to justify her actions. That's what I was trying to say in my head. She's
Yep.
trying to justify
Mhm.
somehow that a slap, just because it was a slap and not a punch, that it's okay.
Right.
And you're a man. Don't be a bitch. Take it.
Well, you know what? If you
Come
were
on,
equality, you wouldn't take that from a man, so you shouldn't take it from a woman. That's what
Exactly.
Absolutely not.
equality is.
Yeah.
If you want to be equal, then you can't hit either.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that is such a valid point, and that really is what needs to come from this, you know, beyond saying your truth and being honest, is holding those standards, because so often there's that battle for equality. Okay, yeah, let's be equal, but let's be equal across the board, and let's talk about what that means, because you
Mhm.
can't just sing canary about what bothers you, but then when there's certain attributes of it that you don't agree with, oh, well, let's just change the narrative so it suits me and protects me and doesn't protect the other person. That's not how equality works. And I love that 2022 is kind of bringing that to the forefront of these conversations, because in 2020 we saw attacks from every vantage point about every subject under the sun, and people were just sitting back and taking it like, what am I going to say? How am I going to argue? Because then I'm going to be the bad person no matter what. And we've had a year to kind of, you know, fester with those thoughts and those ideas, and it's like, okay, wait, I've had time to think about this. Now here we are in 2022. Yeah, let's have some powerful conversations, but
Mhm.
let's talk about this like adults, and let's talk about this on an even kilter. So you can say your side and I can say mine, and we might not agree, but we can both be heard and be valid. We might walk away as enemies and not friends, or on some kind of neutral ground, but
At
either
least
way,
both sides get
it's
heard.
not just one side. Exactly. And I'm so glad that people are starting to speak their truth and their
Yeah.
honesty and say, I'm not going to take this lying down. Let's talk about the other side of this. And
Yeah.
Instead of
if anything,
blindly following
yes,
the
the
popular
sheeple.
opinion.
Yeah.
And really, that, I mean, granted, we said in the beginning, this has been going on for like 5 years now,
Mhm.
but and it feels like longer. But I feel that at the end of this, I think that's all going to come full circle, because we were all rooting for her and rallying behind her in the beginning, even though he had zero history of any kind of domestic violence or domestic abuse, or even being a violent person for that matter.
Right.
And now we're like, okay, you've had more than enough time to prove that you were right. And now you've basically put shame on your, not only yourself, but your whole argument. So now what are you going to do, Amber Heard? And she's even pulling down people that were there for her in the
Mhm.
toughest times, you know, and that speaks a lot to her character too. You know, she's put a lot of people in the forefront in terms of, well, that person never meant anything to me. I never loved that person. You know, I was just using that person. So what is her history then? Using people to get what she wants when she wants, because it helps her. It gets
Yep.
her where she wants to be. So yeah, I think the writing is on the wall, and I think that everybody truly sees this. And I really feel that in the end, there's no way she's going to win this case.
I'd be
I hope not.
surprised.
Yep. He needs some vindication.
But either way, I mean, it's sad for Johnny, because Johnny is not going to come out of this the same. And even if he wins this, I don't really think we're going to see him in places where we want. Fantastic Beasts, franchise. We're not going to see him in Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. And so where does that leave his career? What do we do from here? What happens to future projects? Are people going to offer him jobs, or is he going to step away from the spotlight completely? It's that, I mean, I know he has his music, lyrics, and he does all these amazing, really artsy things. He even is an artist. I mean, he paints and he does really incredible things with his hands. But will we ever see Johnny Depp in a movie again? That's hard to say.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that? Do you think we're going to ever see him in a movie again?
I feel like maybe a while down the road, he might come back and like surprise us with something, but
I think so.
I
think he's going to use all of this,
and like put it into something.
Drama and, life experience and crap he's going through, and pour it into a role.
Yeah.
I hope so.
I mean, I feel
Maybe
like
Tim Burton will save
I was
him.
just gonna say, I feel like Tim Burton will probably always offer him something.
Tim Burton is amazing, and their chemistry together on screen is just spectacular. I mean, gosh, they've done like 20 different projects together.
A lot.
It's insane. So I don't know. I think that it was important for us to have this conversation because, obviously it's gossip. We don't get to gab a lot on this show and just be nitty gritty, true gossipy. But I think that for generations, and I know that Stacy and I, you and I are of the same generation. Gina, you're about a decade behind us.
Yep.
But I think we can all honestly say that Johnny Depp has been a part of our both childhood and adulthood equally and enthusiastically. We have looked forward to seeing his name on the big screen. We've looked forward to rewatching his movies on television and sharing them with, family members and things like that. So it's very disheartening. And I think that despite how crazy this trial has become, I think that all of us that have grown up with Johnny Depp are compassionate about his situation. We do truly feel for him having to even be in a place to sit in that chair and listen to the bullshit that her entire, attorney defense team is throwing his way.
Attorneys.
It's just ridiculous.
Right.
I use the term loosely. Those are the most unprofessional, ridiculous attorney. I mean, just the muffins.
What an embarrassment.
Alone. I'm just like, oh my God, shut up about the muffins. But anyway, any final thoughts on the Johnny Depp trial and Amber Heard? I mean, I think she's going to be reprising her role as Mara too in Aquaman 2. I don't think that's been pulled from her yet. So I wonder how people are going to rally behind.
I would say the petition has gotten a lot of steam lately to get her out of it.
There's over 2 million signatures against her right now, and it's gonna hit 3 million. And then the company pushed the premiere from December to like March of next year. So I think they're actively writing her out.
Good.
That's my guess.
Good. I mean, even if she does have like a small, because I think they had started to film it. So even if she has a small cameo, maybe they can just kill her off and then we can all cheer loudly together in the studio, But I think the important thing we need to walk away from here is, women's voice in domestic violence. If your truth is true, please, sing it from the rafters, but don't
make shit up.
These false allegations. Yeah, because you're not only hurting the person that you're making the accusations against, but you're hurting a whole band of women, and you're hurting a whole movement and generations that have not only come before you, but that will follow after you. Well, it looks like this is going to wrap up this episode of The Old, the New, and the Awesome. thank you so much for joining us. Steve, we definitely missed you today, but we look forward to having him back again next month, hopefully with a new bundle to tell us all about. And we will definitely look at visiting some new topics, some old topics, of course, some awesome stuff as we always do here in our nerd box. And we will bring back the hot button topic that we anticipated doing this month, which is going to be banned books. So until next
Third
time,
time's a
thanks so
charm.
much for joining us. Yeah, right? Because that is true. This will be the third attempt at that hot button topic. And then watch us change it anyways. Don't listen to me. Maybe I have no idea what I'm talking about. Nonetheless, we look forward to seeing you in the comments. So definitely drop us a comment below. We look forward to talking to you. Ladies, as always, it is a pleasure. So thank you so much for doing this with me this month. And Steve, we'll see you next time along with our amazing audience. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
If you enjoyed the video you just watched, feel free to leave a comment. Also, feel free to subscribe if you want to be up to date with our latest videos. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you in the next one. Actions speak louder than words.